Live, I think. Hold on. Just taking care of this real quick. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Welcome into the stream. Let me just do something real quick here. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Let's see here. I'm just gonna check real quick to see if we are officially live. Because we're gonna keep, we're gonna keep live. That's kind of the important thing right now. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Let's see here. So, I hope everyone's doing well. Just changing camera angles a little bit. Let's see here. Oof. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put it on the left side this time. My apologies. But we're good, we're good, we're good. Upper left, maybe? That'll do. That'll do. Right next to where the Crimson Moon is located at. So, wait for the screen for a little bit. Let's see here. Then take care of this. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. We are live. Welcome into the first YouTube stream slash, if you want to call this video, of this game called Suhoshin. And yeah, we are here live, living in color, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, welcome on in. Suhoshin was a game that I was interested in playing a long time ago when it was first introduced by, I think it was something 500, I want to say. Let me look this up just to make sure so I actually am doing this properly in respect. Suhoshin was published by and developed by No More 500, featuring the artist who worked on the visual novel Raging Loop, which was one of my favorite games that I had played on the PlayStation 4 a long time ago. So, released in April of this year, actually, Suhoshin is a 2D visual novel set in the medieval, either Joseon or something period of Korea. So we need to, yeah, we're here to play the game. So I hope everyone's doing well. Let me see here. So here we go to you. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm finally happy to be back on here for some stream. I hope everyone is doing well. I actually should probably do a sound check just in case when the time shows for it. Let me see here. Just gonna get this going. See here. Okay, so we got that. Not too bad, not too bad. Perfect. Just a little bit more, then we should be good to go, I think. Excuse me. There we go. Okay. And I think we are good as golden, I'm pretty sure. Alright, welcome on in. This is Punmaster Logue, and we are officially playing Suhoshin for the first time, or Suhoshin, depending on how the pronunciation is either supposed to be, or your preferred pronunciation of this name, of this game. And, I streamed this a little bit when I was over on Twitch a while ago. I only streamed it a few times, so I figured, YouTube is an opportunity to kind of get the game talked about, so I figured why not play this game since I enjoyed Raging Loop so much, even though that's a different developing company and stuff. So anyway, don't worry about that part too much. Excuse me. Alright, I think without further ado, let's just see here. We're going to start a new game file, I think, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, The story, characters, and locations and other elements depicted in this game are fictitious. Any resemblance to existing people or situations are purely coincidental. Would you like to see the tutorial? I figured for the circumstance, yeah, probably a good idea. Tutorial, index, because yeah, we're playing this live pretty much, so might not be too bad. As you progress through the game, some words are displayed in red, which is not a bad idea, really. These are Korean terms, and you will probably want to know what they mean. Yun Seo, I think, Seo. They mean Hanyang or Hanyang? Hanyang? It's okay, you know. When you see these words pop up in red, head over to the index menu to understand what everyone's talking about. Let's see, pretty straightforward with some of this tutorial. Index flowchart. So, depending on your actions, events will change for better or worse. So we'll just kind of have to see how it goes in this journey. Excuse me. Your journey will be mapped out in the flowchart menu down below, usually. Prologue, day one kind of thing, you know, that little adventurous thing and whatnot. So you may jump between scenes at any time, erasing the need to start back from the beginning of the story, which I think is always very helpful. Especially when you're in a situation where you feel like either you're lost or you feel like you need to kind of go back and change what you did. If it gives you the option, I think, as time goes by. But that's okay. Yeah. So you will even unlock new branches after certain events. That's actually a good thing. I should probably bring this up. Do I have it still? I do. Nice. Alright. Alright. We are good to go. So you'll even unlock new branches after certain events. Yes, very important to do so, I think, give or take. Especially if you want to 100% this game. Don't worry about not being able to go back and head down a different path, though. Some will not be available, I think, due to various reasons. So autosave, it's a pretty normal thing right now in certain games. So Suhoshin, excuse me, has an autosave feature. This save is performed at the beginning of each scene. If any problem should arise during your last playthrough, you will find your data in the last shot, or last slot. Sorry, I completely messed up the wording on that one. That's, you know, sometimes that happens. In the last slot of the load menu. But we do recommend that you save often, which, here on this channel, I usually do anyway, so that's okay. It's not like we're going to be changing that anytime soon. Secrets. Let's talk about secrets. But let's just keep this a little secret in the meantime. A few mysteries and secrets will be revealed during your journey through Suhoshin, or Suhoshin. We would greatly appreciate it if you didn't disclose these secrets to your friends or to the people of the internet. This is, well, this is awkward. Try not to tell anybody. Sorry. Well, we're going to play this in stride and enjoy the game and share it with everybody. So, you know, what you see is what you get. Okay, sorry. Thank you for your discretion. Yeah. So, I think we've seen the tutorials long enough. Let's start the game right now. Excuse me. Welcome to the prologue. Southeast of Joseon, or something of the sort. From my vantage point, I could see a river in the distance. Let's see here. Before we continue, okay, so we got that those are pretty straightforward. Up on the D-pad. Log with basically what we had previously talked about a little bit in our little journey. Okay, pretty straightforward on that one too. Auto. So auto, I'm pretty sure it's like, okay. That we had just gone through. That's okay. L1 is, you know, if you want to hide that a little bit, but I might keep that on there just because, you know, it's always good if I'm a little nervous about where each of the controls are, especially if this is either your first or second playthrough. This is still technically my second time I played this game, or third, give or take. But this would be my first time going all the way through it, so we're all going to be learning something together on this little journey. I didn't really go very far during my initial playthrough of this, so again, this is still going to be somewhat of a full playthrough if it keeps going. We'll see how it is. But I think we're here to enjoy, kind of thing, you know. So I reined in my horse and looked up at the sky. I saw the pretty moon. Anyway. See here. Menu. Yes, there's also the options menu. Save frequently. So yeah, only got to about day 3 during the initial one. So at this moment, this is going to be probably our main one, so we can just overwrite this. That's fine. Oh, sorry. A little. Oh. Sorry about that. Let me turn off my phone. Alright, let's see here. My apologies. That's very confusing. But that's okay. I always tend to forget about that part, actually. Anyway, we're okay. We're okay. Let's just go from there. Back at this again. Yes, we will save one more time. As I mentioned, you know, this will be a pretty frequent thing that we will do as we go along. Control is pretty straightforward. L1 is in-game help. R1 is fast skip, so after chapter read. Index up on the D-pad. Flowchart is left on the D-pad. Hide text box is like down on the D-pad. So X or cross is next. Circle is back. Square is auto, and then triangle is log. And then options for menu, which that one pretty much sometimes is pretty straightforward now. But that's okay, otherwise we are good to go. No, and yes, exit means go back to the main menu, so that's okay. From the log, from my vantage point, I could see a river in the distance. I reined in my horse and looked up at the sky. It was getting late, and I was losing daylight. It was the 7th day since my departure from Hanyang, and the 2nd since the last village I stopped at. So, with that being said, let's check out the log real quick. No, okay, I was actually wrong. The index, thank you. We have our first instance of a new term. Is it Hanyang or something? I'm not sure. Is the name of Joseon's capital. The city is now known as Seoul in South Korea, which I think is actually fairly cool to learn. That's what I also like about some of these games, that they actually give you little bits of information too, because I actually like to learn about some stuff like that too. It kind of was always intriguing to me in a way. Kind of just a little adds, it adds a little bit more to each of these. It makes them very unique in their own way, I think, for these kinds of games. Hold on one second. Uh-oh. Yikes. Okay. So, we're gonna... The heck is going on? Thank you. Hi. That was weird. Okay. I have no idea why that was there. but I mean, it is what it is. So, okay. Anyway, so it was the 7th day since my departure from Hanyang, and the 2nd since the last village I stopped at. I was exhausted. I was also starting to miss human contact more and more, and couldn't wait to rest in the comfort of my own home. Jeez, it actually makes me think of, all games, Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus. Sorry, my bad. On that one. So, I don't know, it's weird to think, because those two are two very different cultures entirely. Thankfully, I was getting close to my final destination. You do not want to get stuck in the final destination. Yikes. Alright. How about we find a place to stop for the day? That river is just 10 minutes away. I should set up camp over there and get some sleep. It'll only take another half a day at most to reach my village. If I head out early enough tomorrow morning, I should arrive by noon. Can't wait to see my old friends and get a start on this new job. I spurred my horse on once more. My apologies. Continuing my journey to the southeast. Even though I was tired, every time I thought about reuniting with the people I had left behind, I could feel a tingle of excitement. Moving on. None of them knew of my return, so it was going to be quite the big surprise. Sorry for that. Kind of messed up there. Hold on. We good? There we go. Alright. There we go. So, a few minutes later, I reached the riverbank. I tethered my horse to a tree and filled my flask with water. Good thing, actually, because I came prepared for the occasion. Excuse me. I hope this would be my last night sleeping under the stars. I'm in for another cold night. I had to light a small fire. I started collecting some firewood and kindling scattered about the area. This part of Joseon was a land of many mountains and forests, so firewood was easy to come by. Now, with that, we just got our second one, which I believe is either Joseon. Joseon is what people used to call Korea. It is also the name of the time period between 1392 and 1910. That's actually a pretty big amount of time between using that name. Interesting. I gathered wood until I had a big enough stack to last the night. And I sat down and went about lighting my fire. The nights were growing colder and colder, making it necessary to have a fire. Sorry about that. Let's see how much food is left. I still have a good supply of rice and meat. This should be enough to get me through my final day. With this river so close, I won't be lacking water anytime soon. As I nibbled on my lackluster dinner, I dreamed about the next hot meal I would be treating myself to once I arrived. There was a jumak in the village that I had always loved going to since the food was so good. So, we have our next instance of this. In ancient Korea, a jumak, or something of the sort, was a popular tavern, normally operated by female jumos, or alcohol mothers, which I'm not fully familiar, where one could go to get a hot meal and have a few alcoholic beverages also served as a sort of inn for travelers. Take about that however you will. I'm just here for the game. Well, this game. since the food was so good. The Jumak was a great place to get together and discuss the goings-on with other village folk. I had quite a few pleasant memories from my time there. After mopping up the last scraps of my meal, I pulled my blanket out of my pack. Huh? Who goes there? A woman had happened upon my campsite, yet I hadn't heard the snap of a single twig signaling her approach. Sorry about that. That was rather odd, since noticing suspicious sounds had been one of the lessons I had been taught during my training. Then there was that. Sorry about that. Was exhausted to blame. Was exhaustion to blame? The trip had tired me out mentally, but physically I still felt fine. I had probably grown far too relaxed without realizing what was happening, since I hadn't seen a soul for 2 days now. Either way, there was no village within walking distance, and this woman seemed to be on foot, wearing her everyday clothes and carrying no pack whatsoever. How had she gotten here? The question baffled me, especially considering how late it was and that we were in the middle of nowhere. But I don't see Courage the Cowardly Dog, though. So it's not fully nowhere. Anyway, sorry about that. Good evening to you, miss. She gave no response. What are you doing out here? I could ask you that same question. Oh. I could ask you that same question. Sorry about that. It is rather unusual for a young man like you to spend the night in a place like this. Her voice was calm and her demeanor collected. She didn't look to be lost. The whole situation was a bit unsettling. This begins, okay. I'm returning to my home in Yangdong. I still have half a day's ride ahead of me, so I decided to camp here for the night and set off in the morning. I see. May I share your fire? It wouldn't have been proper for me to refuse. I nodded. Excuse me. She sat down across from me and glanced at my bags. No matter how hard I racked my brain, I couldn't recall meeting a person like her before. It seems that you have come very far. Where are you riding in from? Hanyang. I have spent the last 3 years there, and today counts the 7th day in my journey home. So then, you're coming from the capital. What business did you have there? She started up a conversation as if there was nothing at all strange about her arrival. Always be careful, people, of weird strangers who show up out of nowhere and yet you don't hear a single sound on the ground. That's when they always try to get you by surprise. But considering that I had no one to talk to for the past 2 days, I was up for a chat. I went there for my training. She gave me a look that told me she expected me to continue. Someone to have a conversation with? Okay. I completed the training needed to become an officer. And after passing the Guagio, I was told to return to Yangdong. So, now. Oh, sorry. You hear? New one. Guagio was a civil service examination. These extremely difficult exams had to be passed if a citizen wanted to attain any job requiring any sort of expertise, including military or government positions. Interesting. That's quite the feat of intelligence. Then you went to Hanyang to prepare for the exam? could remember it all as if it happened only yesterday. Plot twist. Apparently it was yesterday. I have no idea. I'm just messing around. I've been dreaming of becoming an officer ever since I was a small child. But since I grew up in Yangdong, such a small village far to the southeast of the capital, I knew that accomplishing such a dream would be difficult. There was no school nearby and no means of training for that sort of job within reach. We only had a few soldiers stationed in our town. So when I was young, I tried to set myself apart from my peers by making myself useful whenever I could. I think that was why one of the noblemen took notice of me and offered to pay me for my travel to Hanyang, where I could get a formal education. Of course, I accepted and set off for the capital at once. Quite the courageous move on your part. It must not have been easy setting off on your own like that, leaving your friends and family behind. I had no real family to speak of, and no memories of my parents. I had spent my entire childhood in an orphanage. That was why I had built such solid bonds with the people of the village. They were the only family I had. Leaving them behind had proven to be quite the ordeal, but I knew that it wouldn't be forever. And what did your instructors teach you? We focused on several different subjects. In terms of combat, I was trained to handle a variety of weapons, bow and spear among them. I was also taught how to serve as a bodyguard. And I was on a horse practically every day. Yes, hooves indeed. Our conversation continued, but I still had no idea who this woman was. I had to ask. Pardon me, but would you please tell me what brought you out here? It's getting late and we're in the middle of nowhere. You should not jump straight to suspicion, young man. I have been living in Yangdong for a few months now. Which explains why we have never met before. It was Mr. Lee, the village Sato himself, who welcomed me when I arrived. Now, Sato, during the Joseon period, a Sato was a high-ranking official. Okay, I am all over the place with trying to speak today. Sent by the king to watch over each of the cities and villages of Joseon. So, like, high-ranking official, yes. You know what? I have this feeling we need to save. Like I said, we'll be saving pretty frequently, so that's okay. Let's see here. I also met Mr. Kim, as well as his wife and daughter. That was far too specific to be concocted on the spot. At least either that or she's like really good at improvising. Could be weirder. There was no way she could have just summoned upon the details of those families, especially the surnames of the village Yonbons. Hold on. I kind of messed up there. So, until the end of the Joseon era, the Yongbon class was the highest social rank one could attain. The status allowed these noblemen to avoid certain taxes and laws. Teach their own, you know. Let's see here. I often head out this way on horseback rides, but I do believe that I pushed myself and my horse a bit too far this afternoon. My horse threw me and took off. I have been walking for a few hours now, thinking I was heading towards Yangdong, but I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. I knew I was lost and began to worry. It was good fortune meeting you out here, otherwise I do not know what might have become of me. Would you mind if I spent the night here, and perhaps you could show me the way in the morning? Of course, I would never presume to ask a lady to fend for herself in the woods. Sorry about that. Here, take my blanket. It's getting quite chilly at night, and I would hate for you to fall ill. I handed her my blanket. That's very kind of you, but how will you manage without it? I've got some warmer clothes in my pack. They will suffice. Are you sure? Yes, I'll be fine. However, I have no food to offer you. You must be hungry. A little bit, but I should be able to hold out for a day. She took something from a small pouch and held it out to me. Is that a talisman? Okay, so I'm not sure how I'm going to pronounce this, so we'll just kind of go it by, see how it is. I would like to offer you this Nora guy as a token of my gratitude. So, what is this? It's either Nora guy or something similar, but I'm not sure how to say it here, so my apologies. I might keep calling it as such until either something changes. A Nora guy is a traditional Korean accessory, usually found hanging off of a person's clothes to bring good luck, long life, or many sons. Suwa and Yuri, who, Suwa, spoiler, will be seen not too long from now, can be both seen wearing one. I would like to offer you this Nora guy as a token of my gratitude. It protects its owner from all manner of misfortune. Thank you very much, but I don't believe my actions merit any sort of reward. I insist. I very much want you to have it. Now, this is our first instance of a choice to be made in this game. So, first thing, let's save here. Very important to do so. One more time, you know, because that's what we do. Yeah, so the choices are either take it or lock. Obviously, for some reason, the other choice is locked, and we cannot go for it right now, so our only choice is to take it. So, if we continue playing this, which part of me is hoping to actually do so, we will have to remember this, which means something else is going on here. But I don't see any red flags. Do you? I don't. Anyway. We will take it. If you insist. I will keep it close. I slipped it into my bag. Without another word, she wrapped the blanket around her body and lay down next to the fire. It looked as though the mishaps of the mishaps of the day had left her tired, and I thought it would be better to let her get a good night's rest. She was a mysterious woman, and I realized that I hadn't even had the chance to ask for her name. Still, that wasn't the pressing issue, and we would have plenty of opportunities to talk things over during our journey tomorrow. I took a few more items of clothing out of my bag and to help me stay warm. And still, well, after stoking the fire for a few minutes, making sure it would burn for at least a few more hours, I laid down to sleep as well. And we drift off to dreamland. I must have fallen asleep soon after because I had no other memories from that night. The Twilight Zone. Welcome to day 1. Our journey has truly begun. Southeast of Joseon. I woke up at dawn, feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep. That is a concept that I have no idea what it's really like, to be honest, in this day and age. I usually don't get very good sleep too much. It's just normal for me at that point. The fire must have gone out sometime during the night because the embers were cold. As I pondered that fact, I realized that I hadn't woken up once during the night to stoke the flames. That wasn't like me at all. So essentially you were in a deeper sleep than usual. I was supposed to be looking for my new companion, but I had slept through the night instead. Although that was not officially one of my duties, it was a bit negligent on my part. I took a look around, but there was no sign of the woman from the night before. Huh? Where'd she go? I looked over to where she had bedded down for the night, but she was nowhere to be seen, and neither was my blanket. In fact, my blanket was draped around my shoulders. Am I going mad? I vividly remember putting on another layer of clothes last night to keep warm. I rummaged through my bag. Everything is in its proper place. Even the clothes I remember putting on last night. That's rather odd. I am absolutely sure that I gave her my blanket and put on an extra layer of clothes. How did the clothes I was wearing end up back in my bag? I don't know. Mysteries, I tell you. Was all of that just a dream? Now, we do have another choice that we could make. So now the question is, what should we do? So, we have a few choices. We either call for the woman, search the area, check my horse, or nothing. No, that's my horse! Sorry. Let's call for the woman real quick. Hello. Ma'am. No response. I decided to try once more. A little louder this time. Hello. Is anyone there? Again, no response. Only the birds seem to be within earshot. It's almost like you can hear them out loud right now. Tweet! Was that a dodo bird? Anyway, sorry. I walked down to the river and called out again. Hello? She's gone. If she were still close by, she would have heard me by now. I do. Let's search the area. I checked out the place where I could remember her bedding down for the night. Let's have a look. I can clearly remember her stretching out right next to the fire. That's so strange. She couldn't have slept here. The grass is completely undisturbed. I took another look around. Not a single trace of her. I'm not sure what to make of it. Let's check the horse real quick, just in case. I went over to my horse, finding her right where I had left her, next to the river. You saw that woman too, didn't you, girl? Don't get snippy with me. Sorry, it's the horse I was talking back. Did she slip away sometime in the night? Or was it this morning? Regardless, that's the knot I tied. I'm sure of it. Let's face it. If she had actually fled the scene, you'd be gone too. If only you could tell me what you saw. Anyway, you're carrying enough of a burden, having to lug me around all day. I gave her a gentle pat and walked back to my camp. She explained that she had been thrown from her horse and walked all this way. We're such a long way from the village. How could that be? She didn't seem all that worried to me. I can remember giving her my blanket, but that is clearly not the case. It must have been a dream. There's no other explanation. I must have been so exhausted that I imagined meeting a woman who had lost her way. I also slept through the night, neglecting my fire completely. It had been a long time since that had happened. The trip must have been harder on me than I thought. Well, there's no time to waste. I must be off to the village. It's still rather early. If I head out now, I should get there by noon. I packed up my things and readied my horse. Get on it, doggy. Off we go. Sorry about that. Welcome to Suhoshin. Yangdong Village. Excuse me one sec. There we go. After riding for a few hours, I was able to make out Yangdong in the distance. I can see you! Looks like Hill Valley. Maybe, to be honest, I'm not sure. I'd been away for 3 whole years, but in just a few minutes, I would be back at the place I called home. It's beautiful out there. A wave of emotion hit me. I was about to meet all of my old friends again and get started on this new job of mine. The small village of only a few hundred people is where I grew up. You can see, in the distance, a valley of possibilities that are endless. It's beautiful. I'm thinking too much on that. I lived in a small house outside of the walls, near the southern gate. What is this, Attack on Titan? Sorry. Our village was quite isolated from the rest of Joseon. The closest town being several days away by horse. Here in Yangdong, we lived off the land and were fairly self-sufficient. There was always enough to go around. Sorry, I'm kind of just getting into my comfort now of, like, you know, actually streaming these in general after so long. So, my apologies for my kind of wooden, like, narration earlier. Just kind of finding that comfort after so long, I guess. So, my bad. Excuse me one sec. Just checking something. Okay, so let's see here. After passing the exam, I had been expecting to be assigned to one of the larger cities, but my orders were to return to Yangdong instead. Since this was such a quiet town, I figured that most of my job would be centered around helping the community. I should veer west, skirting the village, so that I can stop by my house and drop off my things. Actually, you know what? Let's see here, it's 7:09 right now. I think we're at a good point to probably just stop this video and then just go from there. And then start it again in just a few moments. So, thank you to everyone for watching this video. I appreciate seeing all of you. And, yeah, we'll pick this back up in the next video. So, until then, this has been Master Logue, and we will talk to you all later. Until then, take care. Bye.